Okay, recording now. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I am super excited to be welcoming you all to the kickoff meeting for the Student Basic Needs Communications Network. This has been a project that we've been very excited about seeing come to fruition and have had conversations for some time about what we would like to see on our campuses and the support that is available to you all. And so we're really excited to have with us today. We have a few people from KYSSC here at CPE. We have some representatives and partners from Hope Center, as well as partners from SOVA. And then today we're expecting a little more than 20 of our communications team members from across the state to be here. Like I said, we are recording that, totally honoring and acknowledging that there's a lot going on with back to school on our campuses. But we're excited to be here. And, part of our goal today is fairly simple. We just want to welcome you all and get to know each other, hear from each of you and who you are and the campuses that you represent, as well as laying, the vision and foundation of what this project is to look like. So again, thank you all for being here with us. And I would like to kick it over and introduce you to Lauren Bond. Lauren is with the Hope Center at Temple, and Lauren has been leading the communications network. There's two projects with this. It's a communication side, and then there's a data and research side. So on our communication side, Lauren Bond has been leading that, and she has an awesome team that is working with her that will help support the work that we're doing on our campuses. So I will kick that over to you, Lauren. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ariane. Hello, everyone from Philadelphia. It's a little rainy here and humid. It's such a pleasure to be in community with you all. As Ariane said, this is a really big project that involves some research. And in our end, for my part, Joshua, my colleague here, who's on the call, who I'll toss it over to in a second, and Reja, who will be joining in from another meeting, hopefully shortly. We're really excited to work with you all on this communications component. We are a small but fierce communications team at the Hope Center for Student Basic Needs at Temple University in Philadelphia. And what really undergirds our mission, and which is why we're so excited to be here with you all today and working moving forward, is that any solution to student basic needs insecurity ought to and must involve students and collecting their testimonials and hearing from them and learning from their experiences and really positioning them as the experts that they are of their own lived experiences. So, all of you are doing such incredible, beautiful work, and you interface either directly or indirectly with students who you are, on campuses and in community with to serve. So consider myself, Joshua, and Reja, your small communications team as well. Over the next several months, we'll specifically be working with you all to collect student testimonials, again, to really hear from them what's top of mind, how they're moving through their student experience and, brushing up alongside some of these challenges to either, gain access to or to meet their own basic needs. And because students we're really here in service of them. And because of them, we want to make sure we do that in a way that, again, serves students. Oftentimes in storytelling, it can be extractive and we're like sticking a microphone in front of them and we're like, tell us your stories. But together, we're really with a long runway looking forward to building those relationships with students and learning from them, all with the goal toward the end of our work together, toward the end of next spring. Reja, Joshua, and myself are really excited to put together a communications toolkit, if you will, with student testimonials, with, again, recorded experiences of how students are and are not getting their basic needs met, and what we can learn from those experiences to better show up as our full selves. and serve and support them. And that communications toolkit can be used, in several different ways with institutional leaders on your campuses, with policymakers, with the general public, in order to not only inform them that basic needs and security is very much this intersectional, deeply entrenched social problem, but also one that we can all work towards solving. We're hopeful about this work ultimately, and not just because hope is in our name. But that's a long-winded way of saying so excited to be working with you all in the next week. After this call, you're going to hear back from us. Joshua, Raja, and myself have drafted a production guide that will take you through what some of that student testimonial work might look like together, as we'll be doing it remotely and async. But we're really grateful for Ariane and the team for giving us a really nice long runway, about a little less than a year, to really move along this process together and in partnership. So I am super excited. I want to toss it over to Joshua, and then also, like, if you don't mind, because I want to meet you all, if you could just drop in the chat, of course, your name and affiliation, and I would love to hear about something you ate or drank this summer that was really delicious and that gave you joy. I will start in the chat, but I'm going to quickly just toss it over to my brilliant colleague Joshua, who can tell you a little bit more about his work and the work we'll be doing together. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Lauren. That was a great introduction, and you have covered most of the things I want to say, especially about our values and what we're looking to get out of this project. So just a brief introduction to who I am. My name is Joshua. I am a communications associate on the Hope team. As Lauren said, there are three of us, and we kind of do a little bit of everything together. My usual beat is copy editing, video work, and that sort of thing. As Lauren said, we have drafted that little production guide, and I was responsible for a lot of the video type stuff that's on there. And I just want to let you all know that I will be here to support you as you do that sort of thing. My specialty from college to now has sort of been doing stuff as cheaply and with as little equipment as possible, because I think that's really fun. My friends and I have always filmed on camcorders and on iPhones and on stuff like that. So I just want to let you know that we're absolutely here to support you with whatever equipment you don't have, as we're capturing these student testimonials. I think it's a really fun challenge, and you can get some super cool stuff out of it. As for Hope's video work up to this point, I'm going to throw a little link in the chat here to the first in our learning modules series, just so you can see a little bit of what Hope has created before. And it's a great little intro to what student basic needs and security looks like right now. And it's a great tool to show your, colleagues or anyone who needs to be caught up to speed. But I think that's the best way to get a little bit of an intro to what we're doing here. And just as Lauren said, thank you all so much for the work that you've been doing, and I'm excited to meet all of you and meet your students.
Now I'm hungry. Looking at all this goodness in the chat. Thank you for humoring me.
I didn't know. I was just looking around the room also to see Raja had gotten on.
Yeah, they're unfortunately still stuck in another meeting of ours, but y'all get a chance to meet her, and we're really excited.
It's okay. I did want to, we'll definitely be meeting her and excited about that. Would turn it over for a moment to Nicole McWhorter, who's with SOVA, who is working with us on our webpage end of this system or this project. And I'd like for you to introduce yourself and tell your work with the project, please.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, I have my headphones in and then it being weird. So, well, I actually, just as Ariane's doing that, I was typing my information in, so you don't get the food because I hit enter before, and I'll have to think about that one, Lauren. I am Nicole McWhorter. I am with principal with SOVA, and I have been supporting the collaborative and the student basic needs work now for maybe a little over a year. So really excited and have been kind of on this journey with them. And it's just really amazing work. And I'm really kind of honored, I think Lauren used that word as well, to be part of this and to be part of what y'all in Kentucky are doing for your students. So specifically about my work, I am doing work around what we call ecosystem mapping. So really looking at to help build out these trusted sources to build kind of a database or a collection, a very large one, of all the resources and information that students would possibly need that for any kind of basic need or whatnot, and not just at the state level, but looking at it from like regional and local levels. And that's kind of where all of you come in to really be able to help me to capture those gems in your own communities that maybe we wouldn't be able to find on our own. So I am helping to kind of build that back end information, and my colleague Paul is building out an AI chatbot to be able to do really easy, intuitive searches against that information. So don't think like AI as far as like going out and capturing all the information from the web or whatnot, but it's a database, and so it's really just there to help. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just really there to help kind of the search, like the way that we search things, so that's easier, and that anyone on campus, regardless of what their experience is, if so they meet a student and they find out that a student doesn't have anywhere to live, right, that they can go to the site and really do just a basic natural word search, being like housing, right? Like, and then maybe the location, and be able to then have that source and that resource to be able to share with the student. And so I think this is a really, there's so much information out there, and it's so disparate, and it's all, nobody knows what to trust and how to get it, or what, and it takes time. And a lot of times students don't have that time, and we all have been there, right? It's overwhelming. You start to look at something and then it just feels like, well, how do I know which one to go to or which one to use? And so what I'm working on is really trying to identify those sources, create a database, and then that will be on a website for your entire universities and schools and colleges, anyone, students and whatnot, to use to be able to get the information they need quickly. So excited. I think I'm most excited about finding these gems of local resources that we wouldn't be able, I can do a lot of searches and capture all the kind of state and like the ones that everybody knows about, right? But and we'll be sending out a survey, and we'll be talking to you and trying to collect this information. But I know that there's just so much community support within your local networks, and really being able to get that so that students have that information to them more easily available. So I think that's about it. And I am excited to meet all of you and to continue this work together. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicole. I want to pop it over to Olivia for a quick introduction.
Hi, Olivia Morse-Bush here. I'm at the Collaborative. I serve as a research fellow for Student Basic Needs. I'm here just to kind of listen in, get to know you all. I'm really excited for this project and to be of support however I can. So I'll kick it off to Lily.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see some of you again, and nice to meet you if this is our first time. My name is Lily, and I work with the Collaborative as well. I'm Assistant Vice President for Student Success with CPE, and I'm just really excited to see this project get kicked off. It has been a long time in the works, and really started with our very first Student Basic Needs Equity Audit project that we did with 9 campus partners back in like 2022-23. And some of the research around our student voice, really informed the need for this project. They talked about the stigma around accessing basic needs services. They talked about really not reaching out for help until they were in crisis. And they also said that they are most likely to go to the person that they trust on their campus. So that could be an English faculty member, it could be an academic advisor, it could be somebody who knows very little about the actual basic needs resources. And so kind of hearing from the students, that really led us to write our grant for the ECMC Foundation to support what is now this project with the Hope Center, and very excited for all of our collective knowledge and insights to kind of come together to hopefully benefit not just the 8 campuses that are a part of this communications network, but broadly the entire state and all of our campus partners in Kentucky. So thank you so much for all the investment in our students.
Thank you so much for that, Lily. And I see Raja jumped on, and I wanted to make sure I gave her time before we turned it over and got to do kind of our round robin with the rest of the group.
Hello, everyone. I'm Raja. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was just having some tech troubles this morning, but I work at the Hope Center with Lauren and Joshua, and I'm really excited to just be a part of this and document all the amazing student experiences. And just a little bit more about me. I work mainly in design at the Hope Center. So yeah, really excited to be here. And do I need to popcorn to someone else?
No, thank you so much
Okay.
for your intro. We're going to start doing that now, though. Now that you all have had a chance to hear from us as the team that's kind of going to be behind the scenes and helping to support you all through this work, we'd love to hear from you all. So I want to take some time here to have you all to introduce yourselves, your campus that you're at, your role at your campus. And I'd like to hear like a strength that you feel confident in when it comes to communicating with students, or a challenge you face in reaching students when it concerns student basic needs. I will be making note of this and just kind of, spotting any trends or threads that we have there. So introduce yourself, your campus, your role, as well as if you have a strength that you feel confident in communicating about student basic needs, or if there's a challenge that you really like to tackle when it comes to communicating about student basic needs. And if we don't have anyone that feels like they want to just take themselves off of mute very quickly. Okay, thank you, Kauai.
Hello, my name is Kauai Thurman. I am the Director of Student Empowerment and Success at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. Our main campus is in Lexington, but we have multiple campuses in Danville, Lawrenceburg, Winchester, and Georgetown. Let's see, that was my college and my title. Oh, so a strength, I'm in an area at our college where I'm very engulfed with all the students. So I have a good knowledge of what's going on. They feel comfortable talking to me. So that's a real big strength because they tell me all their business all the time. So, so that's a good thing because when they are telling me information, I'm able to say, oh, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this kind of thing? One of the challenges I would say is sometimes those students they don't reach out. They don't come ask for help. And we have tons of services that could help them, but sometimes they just don't want to ask for help. Even sometimes the students that are coming around to talk all the time, they'll talk about every single thing except for the one thing they need to be getting help with. So it can be a challenge.
Thank you for that. Also popped it in the chat, realizing that it was a little bit there. Anyone else?
I can go.
Thank you, Mary.
My name is Marianne Young. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Financial Wellness at the University of Kentucky. And I get the joy of being able to brag on a colleague. So I'm going to talk about a strength. She's joining us today, Becky. So hopefully this doesn't embarrass you, Becky. But I think one of the things that we do really well in financial wellness, which includes basic needs, is just the communication of empathy. We create a really comfortable and warm place for folks to come to, and not just for our students, but for colleagues as well who are unsure of how to navigate with a student who might be in a challenging situation. And I feel like we give that like, hey, we care mentality, in not just like the things that we talk with people about and our formal communications, but informally. And so I think that really helps us in the work, and Becky does a fantastic job with that. Just making sure people know that we're a place that cares and we want to help. So.
Thanks, Marianne, for embarrassing me. I'm flushed from running across campus from tech takeover on the other side of campus to my office for this meeting. I'm Becky Johnson. I am the Basic Needs Program Coordinator here at the University of Kentucky. Just started it'll be a year in October, which is crazy to me. Came from public ed for 24 years in basic needs. So new to higher ed, not new to basic needs. But so I'm located in kind of central campus, which is near the student center and everything. So that's nice. My office is very welcoming, and I have lots of snacks and stuff to kind of ease kids into talking about uncomfortable situations and basic needs concerns and things like that. I have a hard time students fill out, everybody's a kid to me because I'm old, but students fill out a form, get help form, and then don't want to communicate with me when they refer themselves. So that's frustrating. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get them in here. If they've taken enough time to fill out the form, I want to give them all the resources that we have here on campus and off campus, because we have a multitude of resources in the community as well. So.
Hi, I'm Jerry Morgan. I'm the student care manager at the University of Louisville. I think I've been part of this collective since the beginning. We also have Dr. Shirley Hardy, our Associate Director of Student Care and Student Conduct, and Connor Book, first day practicum student in our office. So I think at the University of Louisville, our strength as a social worker in the community for about 30 years now, we have a wealth of resources in the community. However, the challenge is nobody wants to send a college student to a shelter or, and have that be in the media. So we have a lot of challenges with a lot of need, and students that feel that the university can provide for those needs. And, we're full as far as housing, and of course, it costs a lot of money. So housing, I think, is one of our biggest needs. We do have a good food pantry, but yeah, so we're looking for as many creative ideas as you all can bring us to.
I'll go. I'm Tabitha Kerr from Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, Director of Student Success and Tutoring. I will be here a year in October. I also came from a world of K-12 for 27 years, so basic needs are nothing new to us, but this program is very new to me. We have Family Scholar House. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with that. They're in our hallway as well. So that is one of our strengths. But we also have a challenge of making sure everybody across all of our campuses know what we do and how we can help. So I'm excited about this work as well.
So
I
will
go.
My name is Anita Nellums, and like Ms. Kauai, I'm at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. I'm the Director of Counseling Services here. We have a whole lot of students, and we meet a whole lot of needs. We do have Family Scholar House on campus, but we also have some wonderful other resources that helps. But Family Scholar House helps a lot. We're also in the midst of a community with quite a few resources, so that helps as well. We have campus resources, and so those things are strengths. The challenges are, just as everyone else has said, always making sure that people know we exist, and that these things are alive and well on campus. Constantly, just trying to, I hate to say it, but for lack of a better word, kind of politic, and make sure that they understand that we're here to help make their lives easier by using the resources. It helps the classroom, it helps all this stuff. So the same challenges that we all have, trying to meet the need with limited resources. So things like this help. So those are the things. Thank you all for doing this.
I can go next. My name is Tiffany Menard. I'm the Director of Counseling and Community Outreach at Gateway Community and Technical College. We had a grant several years ago that focused on student basic needs, and it really helped us set a foundation. However, that was a while ago, and now we have a lot of new faculty and staff. And so I think this will be a great way for us to start this initiative again so that the new employees are aware.
I can go next. I'm Martina Jackson. I like to go by MJ. I'm here at Eastern Kentucky University, and I'm with our Center for Student Involvement. In my role, I'm our Director for Community and Global Engagement, and that houses our Kernels Cupboard, which is a food pantry slash, we also have clothes there as well, and toiletries and whatnot. This was just added into my portfolio, but I am not new to basic needs. We have a lot of first-gen students here at Eastern Kentucky University, and because of my role, I am pretty student facing. So mainly it's just keeping that conversation like a normal conversation about accessing services on campus, and making it seem like this is what you need to just be a successful student versus saying you're in trouble, even though they come at that time of I'm in trouble. But yeah, just trying to normalize the support services here on campus and the needs that students have here. We just try to make it a daily practice. So I'm in the cupboard, I'm around our student center. I like to call making it my rounds, and I'm up and about around campus too.
Thank you, MJ. I did see Dr. Travis over there raise a hand. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, thank you.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm not sure why my camera's not working, but thank you for letting me participate with this group. I'm excited. I'm Dr. Travis. I'm the Director of Student Life and Engagement at South Central Kentucky Community and Technical College, or SCI-CTC for short. Strengths, really where I'm at SCI, I think we have multiple departments and people who work together very well to support our students' success. And I'm excited that I work at a place that has that passion and caring for our students. I think one of the challenges is just always trying to find more resources to support our students with, and not having enough, but always trying to help our students. I like to use the phrase, I like to remove roadblocks. So whatever I can do to remove roadblocks, I do. And it's just, like I said, the challenges are just trying to have those resources to remove those roadblocks. So I look forward to seeing how this will help me remove those roadblocks. Thank you.
This is Sarah Young. I'm with Gateway Community and Technical College in Northern Kentucky. I'm the Community Resource Coordinator here. And I would say one challenge that I often face is trying to let students know that I'm here. We have a lot of commuter students, so they don't really stay on campus. But I want to intervene early. And they often come to me when they have an eviction and they're due to be out like tomorrow. So that's one challenge that I face. And then success, as Tiffany Menard had talked about the previous grant that we had, is a good foundation for basic needs and access to different community resources and resources on campus. I think that's a good foundation for those that have been here before, but we just need to get the word out to current faculty and staff of the services we provide now. Thank you.
I'm Allison Cernolka. I'm at EKU with MJ. I'm the Assistant Director of Fitness and Wellness. I'm actually in campus recreation. So I think a particular strength of where I'm located right now is it's kind of a a non-intimidating place where students don't expect to have conversations that could lead to basic needs, crises they may be having. So I just have an interesting connection to students. Going along with that, one of the weaknesses is that I'm always like, what's the path of least resistance here? So, and it's overwhelming, kind of like Nicole was talking about earlier, like the student has, XYZ number of issues. Where do I go? So I think this project is really going to help streamline that for all of us on campus, which is something we've been trying to do for a long time.
Go. So I am Leslie Maxey. I'm the Dean of Students at Bellarmine University. My office works with student basic needs wraparound services. Really, I would say all of our offices do because we're a small campus. It's all kind of hands-on when it comes to helping and supporting our students. And I do love that about our campus. I think a strength is that we have been focused for a few years now on building up our student basic needs resources, participating in the collaborative and really everything that we can as our student demographics has been shifting for us to learn and just build some networks that we did not have in place. So I do think that's a strength. I think always the challenge is as our demographics continue to change, still finding a network in the community to help students with sustainable resources. Our donors help us like fund our emergency funds, but we're able to give those out once a year. Students have needs monthly. So it's building up those networks to help them find some sustainable community resources or to find more affordable housing or to find more food banks in the community. So any effort we can to continue building those networks and networking with other schools, we're all for it because looks like everybody said we continue to need to help so we can help meet the needs of our students.
Awesome. I think lastly, we have Whitney Taylor. I saw you off of mute a couple times. So I wasn't sure if your microphone was working, but I wanted to make sure that we gave you time to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Whitney Taylor. I'm with ECTC and just here to support our Tabitha Kerr in the hub and all of our external partners.
Thank you for joining us, Whitney. Everyone, I am super excited again to have you all here. I will also be sharing this with those who could not make it today. I've gotten several messages just while we're sitting here. They're like, we're really trying, we have a whole team, we're dealing with these different things on campus. So we completely understand. But I am really excited to hear some of the things that we're noticing. We've been here, we've had funding, we've had programs that students don't know about us. Students don't know about all the resources. Maybe they don't know about the resources in the community, or maybe it's a fear of using some of the community resources. Should we be sending students to some of these places? And, so we're hearing a lot of different things, and some of our resources we do have in common with some, great places like Family Scholar. I've heard several of you all that work with them. So some of this is really exciting information to have. And these are some of the things that we want to talk about and tackle is, this toolkit is being produced as we're preparing and we go into our mapping conversation and convening here in the next month. So I'm excited to hear from even those who could not be with us today, so we can see how to make this opportunity as beneficial as some of the previous programs and support that you all have had. So now I wanted to take an opportunity to just kind of highlight some of the pieces that are are part of this project. I know Lauren and Nicole have given like an overview of what they're doing with the project. I guess we could probably even go down like the kind of a timeline, even if we think that's easier. I'm thinking, I think I actually have that pulled up, Lauren. But I wanted to just kind of have a little bit of conversation about some of the things that we were looking at to start early on in our timeline. And that is the first piece is with the testimonial, the student testimonial piece. As some have already mentioned and talked about, students have an opportunity to share, to be the experts in their lives. And these are the things that I'm struggling with, or these are the things that have been beneficial to me. These are things that we're seeing with, our peers across campus. We're, wanting to be able to amplify those student voices and their experiences. And in doing that, also encouraging other students to access resources, to feel better about utilizing those resources, realizing that a lot of times students will wait, as we've already heard, they will wait until, the crises. They will wait until like there are 2 days left in that eviction notice. And, a lot of times, sure, it can be that I didn't know about the resource. I didn't know about the basic needs coordinator, but I can recall being in similar roles. And a lot of times the students would say, I was trying to figure it out on my own first. And then that's the further conversation from there. Well, did you feel like you had to figure it out on your own first? Did you feel like you had a safe place to go to? Did you feel like, there was someone available to answer that question? Or was it, that you were embarrassed and you didn't want to have to say out loud, that I need this support and information? So we know that there are a lot of pieces to that, and having other students to be able to say, I struggled and was going to be evicted. However, I went to this trusted source on our campus and they provided me with this, financial support, or this program in the community that, paid my rent and then helped me to have, a sustainable plan to move forward. And because of that, I was able to remain here this semester. Sometimes students think that there's someone else that, I thought there are more people, there's someone else that might be in more need than me. So maybe I shouldn't go, so having a student to say, there's a pantry on campus, I know a lot of us know about it, but some may be hesitant. These are all the different times, that, I know myself or, other peers or colleagues have visited the pantry and, want you to know that it is available. It is here for you, and they could give an example of, I was between checks, or, whatever that looks like, of why they visit the pantry and how it helped them to have food and, a decent amount of food or balanced diet, during a time that, they otherwise may not have. It'd be really helpful to helping another student to understand, that these resources are there for everyone. And so, I know that's some of the things that we heard from students before. Well, there's somebody else. I felt like I'd be, taking a resource from someone else. And I feel like the student testimonial piece that we're going to begin working on is really going to be powerful, and I'm super excited about it. You all will also be meeting some of the Student Basic Needs Senior Fellows, and we have 5 senior fellows that work with us on several different projects, and they are very excited to be able to start this work and be able to support some of you all in different ways. And also know that there's a toolkit that is coming that I think Lauren also mentioned, that will help guide you all on how to do this and what this looks like. Let's see here on my next piece. So if we're looking at, I know we still have some, MOAs coming in, and we're still working those out. But as that is happening, we're looking at September being able to roll. So I think we still have September to December is collecting student testimonials, and being able to provide some time for Hope Center to review and monitor, our progress, be available if there's any support that is needed. and then having them have the opportunity to collect that raw content that is created. And then December to March, they can begin, assessing any gaps, suggesting, ways that we can improve, and then further gather some testimonials. And then as of right now, we're looking at between March and June, that Hope Center will have curated testimonials and produce a multimedia kit for campuses to use. That goes back to that timeline that, Lauren was kind of speaking of, with the amount of time and the months that we had to just really be able to focus on some of the pieces. And this is an example of that. I'm gonna pause and ask Lauren, is there anything that I'm missing there? Is there anything else that you wanted to share there?
Great job. I know that's a lot to keep track of. Thank you. Yeah, the intent here is to, because we understand that you all are busy, students are busy, and we want to make sure that we are collecting these stories in a very collaborative way that's ethical and care centered, and that you have time to develop trust with students and vice versa. So we really want to give you all as much time as possible. So as Ariane said, we would love for you to start, working on getting those testimonials in September. We envision in December, like some type of like review period where we can see, okay, what stories do we have? What testimonials do we have? Are they, as representative of the student experience as they can be? I think many of you spoke to the breadth of the experiences that students that you work with come with. At Hope, we're always trying to dismantle this notion that like, oh, the typical college student is this like 18-year-old who's coming straight from high school, who is supported by two parents and lives in like an IKEA furnished dorm. And most students, as we know, they're parenting students. They work multiple jobs. They commute, they're first generation. So part of the opportunity here is to capture all of those identities that students carry with them and are of. So in December, we'll do a little bit of a review period, and then really giving you all until March, until the spring, to bring in those, I think we said maybe around 2 or 3 testimonials. And this is truly collaborative. So at any point, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have any concerns, as I said, the Hope Comms team is your de facto comms team for this period, and we're very excited about that. Also, as Ariane said, I will be sending out a draft of a production guide in the next probably right after this call, and I would love for you all to just take a look and let us know, oh, is there something here that isn't being addressed? Is there a certain challenge that you're like, oh, how do I get around this? And then the goal is to send you a finalized production guide, which is really just some tips on everything from the technical aspects of how you might go about taking a picture, to an interview guide with some questions that we've offered as starting points, to also then some recruitment language of, hey, like how can you bring in students to this collaboration? So it's a fun little production guide. We're excited to be working on it with you. And yes, thank you.
Thanks for that, Lauren. I'm gonna skip in our project timeline and go to the trusted sources training, because it's huge and it's something that that theme comes up very often. And I've heard some of that with folks who are on here. Even Kauai was like an example of that, right? Like students go and talk to the people who they trust, and it may not always be the basic needs program coordinator. It may be that, one advisor, it may be that English professor that they kicked it off with 2 years ago, and so We're really excited about that project, and that will begin a little later in the fall, and looking around November to begin that draft of the presentation. The way we see this being a part of the project is it will be designed into a training to have more people on campus trained to be trusted sources. One of the things that we've heard from our campuses is that there was a need to expand their capacity. There were several, people that mentioned, I get a lot of students with this thing, or it's just, me that does this piece, or I have all the information here. And we want to make sure that staff and faculty across our campuses are equipped with even some of the basic information of, if a student comes to me, I want to refer them to Becky's office. But even before that, I want to be able to say, here's some resources, here's some information, that you can contact immediately for food services, or maybe, get on, the calendar to meet and speak with someone about, assistance with your electric bill. And you can already be doing that. In the meantime, I'm also going to refer you to Becky's office, and then she can meet with you, so that that student doesn't feel like they're just being passed off to another person. They have something in place. And then, us as the individuals that are meeting and speaking with the students, we feel equipped. We feel like, okay, we feel good. We didn't just, pass the student off and then we're worried about where did they go? Did they get to the next place? Okay. I wish I had some information. They can feel very much equipped to be able to offer some support in the meantime. And so this Trusted Sources training will be a platform that you all can all have access to. The way that we even envision this is that all individuals will be able to utilize this training. Anyone who has heard me talk before knows when I talk about being the Basic Needs Program Coordinator at UK, one of the people or the groups of people that were my greatest supports and allies was the cleaning crew. And they said, I noticed, and I see Becky shaking your head because they see everything, and, had no problem with saying, I notice, these particular things. I know the difference between sleeping and napping. I know when a student is, struggling in these spaces and areas, and I'm going to send students your way. And so for us to be able to also provide that yearly training that we get with like spills or like don't stand on this swivel chair, we can also have a training that is, short and brief, that equips, the next person, the next staff member, the next colleague to be able to provide those resources, so that Basic Needs is everybody's business and is not leaning on one person or this one office to be able to support our students. And then if we're continuing to try to destigmatize, that help-seeking behavior, anyone equipped with saying, oh, you can go to the pantry. Oh, there's this resource and this information. We will in turn continue to be able to help students to feel like it is definitely okay to say that I need help, I need support. I'm struggling right now. If everyone had the opportunity to be trained and equipped with some of this knowledge. And so that is the idea behind this trusted sources training. And we're super excited to be able to have that going. The idea is to have that finalized by the end of spring, and campuses to be able to, offer it. Like I said, if it could be offered in, regular onboarding or, your kickoff back to campus meetings and conversations, it would be amazing. And be able to note like how many people that we've trained, we've been able to train our staff, we've had, updated, maybe it's the next year, we've updated this information, we've had these new resources, and these are the number of people that we've trained and have been able to utilize these resources. They found it very beneficial. They feel more equipped with, connecting with the student that they know is struggling, and have been able to get them, to all the right places. So that is one of the big, huge things. I think it's just major, based on our conversations and our previous community of practices, to be able to have this training put together and offered to our folks across the state. And then the next part is the actual web page itself. And we know that a lot of campuses has some form of webpage where there are resources there. And in reviewing some of that, there have been conversation of, are the resources all there? Where exactly do I find the page? Is it updated? Where's the information? And so being able to have all of this information centralized into like this resource hub is going to be very helpful. Hope Center is helping with the template for that. SOVA is helping with building out that AI piece, as Nicole mentioned, and it is going to be supported with all of the mining of those resources that are out there, as Nicole shared. And so being able to have that, I know I heard Tabitha mentioned, being, from K through 12, it's like, I'm not new to this. There's all this information and all these resources, but we also know working in human services, it's also ever changing and there's a lot out there. And so being able to go onto a site, and go and look up some of the information without having to depend on making that, additional call or email and, wait for the reply on where do I send this student, is going to be super helpful. And so we're really excited to have the website as part of this project as well. I'm going to pause. I'm looking at the time. I wanted to open the floor to either Nicole or Lauren or Lily. If there's anything that you all would like to add as we, start to wrap up, anything that you feel like maybe I missed and you want to really make sure we hear that. I also want to give you all time to do that before we close out.
I'll just put a plug in that we're going to be sending out a survey or like communicating with you all to be able to collect, like I said, those definite local gems of resources that you have, campus resources. There's so much we can, mine from online information, but there's things that aren't there, right? And so I'm just asking for your engagement in that, because the more information that we can get, the better this tool can be. And then also to send out, we'll send the survey to you all directly, I believe, but to please send that to other folks on your campus who you think might have additional information or might be able to share other things. We are, I don't care about duplication or any of that. So don't worry about being like, oh, if I send it to 5 people, they're all going to send the same things. That is better. I think this kind of understanding, seeing, the resources that get repeated then kind of elevates which ones are kind of your go-to, and we're able to do that. And then in September, when we all convene and we'll be talking about those and going through and kind of building more. So it's kind of a scaffolding, and the first step will be really to collect as much as we can from you. So I know surveys kind of suck. We're going to try to make it, it takes time. We're going to try to make it as painless as possible, but definitely want your engagement in that, because that's really important. So I thank you in advance.
Thank you for that, Nicole. I did see a question pop in, so some preliminary info on how funds can be used. Definitely have some ideas, and there was some feedback. And Lily, can you confirm? Because I was trying to find the email, but that some of these funds can also be used for student incentives when we're looking at collecting student testimonials. And I was trying to find that email from ECMC. ECMC is our funders, for this project. And so we were looking at all of those parameters and how, you could utilize the funds. And that was one I know I'd been asked about, and I was trying to find that in my email.
That's correct, Ariane. So basically, the funds are to support implementation of this communications project. And so as you are connecting with students and, gathering up student testimonials, these funds can be used to support that effort. As you are offering trainings and promoting this, online trusted sources training broadly across campus, these funds can absolutely be used to promote that and support the training of your colleagues. The same way that I think those are going to be the two main things because the ecosystem mapping is inside of the training. And then the web page template is a part of the training as well. So you'll have access to this toolkit. And then the 15K, you know, is really your discretion of how do you help us develop the toolkit as we're going, but then how do you implement the toolkit once it's been developed? And so broadly, communications for student basic needs. And, you know, I think that that is a very broad umbrella that a lot of things can fit under. And as long as you can let us know how it's helping advance the project, like we are happy to support it. UCMC did not put any real limitations on these use of funds. If there's a specific example, Jerry, you know, or a specific question that you were thinking of, happy to address it directly.
In the MOU, it mentioned something about staffing, and so we were just wondering, like, if we could provide a stipend to a student who was doing some of the, like, gathering testimonials or
Absolutely.
doing
Yeah, so
that.
if you're hiring a student comms team to, you know, help with this project, I think that that's a wonderful use of funds.
Yeah, I think that goes back to even in our first meeting and conversation about this, there was a lot of interest in gathering some student or graduate student led comms teams, and folks wanted to make sure that those students were compensated. And so we're happy to be able to even, you know, make sure that that is done as well. Okay, I do realize we're at time, and I want to respect the fact that I know that all of you all are in the very exciting times on you all's campuses. I look forward to working with you all further. Please feel free to email me any questions if you need to have any check-ins. We're going to be making sure that we get some more invites on your campuses, upcoming conversations, and we can also have a layout of, you know, just the project timeline. I know it's kind of like high level listed out in that MOA of the projects that we're doing, but I don't mind to summarize, you know, what we're doing and how to look forward to that for any of your team members that may not be with you today. But I'll also share that with those who couldn't make it today. So again, I'm so glad that you all are able to take the time to be with us, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Keep up the good work.
Bye all.
Get some rest. Bye.